Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest installment of Press Breakers, where UP Power meets the spotlight. I am your host, Daily Press Sports Editor, the big dog, Mitch Vosburg, chatting with you from lovely, beautiful, scenic downtown Escanaba. So, let's get right here. Let's waste no time. Let's talk some football here. Week 1 is come and gone, and it was week 1. Week 1 tends to be a spot where teams can struggle. The teams it's a time where teams try and find their new identities, and some teams are further along in that process. Some teams are at the somewhat beginning of that at game speed, and it showed this week a little bit. I will say before I go on my thoughts and stuff, just remember, folks, it's week 1. We got 8 weeks left to go. A lot of things can happen. A lot of good things can happen in the next 8 weeks, the next 2 months. A season is not lost after week 1. But a season is also not won in week 1. There's a lot of football left to be done. So, let's get to some of the teams in my coverage area. I'll start with Escanaba. 21-0 loss in Kingsford. Got a chance to watch the first half of that game on NFHS Network, which is a lifesaver, my goodness. If you're not subscribed to that yet and you're a high school sports fan, I would definitely get your little pause on it. Escanaba's defense, I thought, played a really, really strong game. There's a chance there, with about a minute left in the first half, inside the 5, Kingsford had a chance to score and make it potentially a 14-0 or 13-0 game, easily a 2-possession game, and SQ drove them back 5 yards and kicked them out of the end zone, and really made a stand. And I was really impressed by the defense. Now, Kingsford had some big bodies in the D-line, I will say that. And I felt one of Escanaba's flaws were a lot of young, smaller bodies in the offensive line. So Kingsford got that win in that area, and I think sometimes it showed. But again, Kingsford's a program historically that finds really good playoff success, that has a lot of bodies, that's in a different situation than where Escanaba's at right now. So I think Kingsford's still going to be a problem in Division 5. This was honestly this was a game I thought kind of went how I thought it saw it going. Esky battled with Kingsford the past couple years and they played. Those games were not close at all. But I can say this with Escanaba now. You can't question their fight. I think Kingsford just wasn't the best matchup for them out of the gate. Going into Cadillac week 2, I'm really excited to see what they can do. Especially, I think Cadillac's going to be a different team than they were last year. I think offensively, Esky can handle Cadillac a little better than they can Kingsford. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. Second game, Gladstone Marquette. I knew out of the gate this is going to be a bad matchup for Gladstone, solely because a lot of the seniors they lost were in skill positions, especially in the secondary and defense. Marquette's got a really good mobile quarterback, and they got 2 receivers in Jacob McPhee and Kyler Sager, who are both really exceptional basketball players, really good athletes. 55-0 Marquette win. It was just a really bad matchup out of the gate for Gladstone. Again, a lot of your younger players, a lot of your newer guys are at your skill position spots, and playing a team that has a lot more experience, a little more seasoning at those skill spots, it's tough. It's tough to match up, and it was tough for Gladstone to match up, period. Now, this week against Negaunee, I think it's going to be a much better matchup. Negaunee's kind of more focused on a run first and play action, a little more passing second kind of style. So I feel Gladstone, that matchup's going to be a lot better. That game's going to be a lot closer than I think people are thinking. I think Gladstone could definitely handle that Negaunee physicality. I'll get to Negaunee a little bit because I got a chance to watch him on Friday. But, like Craig Ness told the Mining Journal after the game, this was not Gladstone football. It just wasn't. And week 1, you tend to have those games. Next game, Bark River Harris against Ishpeming Westwood. Let me give credit to the Patriots right now. Bark River Harris fell 36-12 to Ishpeming Westwood. I'll give credit to the Patriots right now. It's their third coach in 3 years, and this coach they got now, man, I like what he's doing. Ethan Marta, quarterback. A kid who I thought was a really good basketball player last year as a sophomore, now as a quarterback for the Patriots. I I slept on Ishmael Westwood, and I'll admit it right now. I slept on him. If they can find a way to be balanced in their offensive attack like they were against Parker Harris, that's a really bright future for them. As for the Broncos, I mean, first game, new coach, new quarterback, couple new linemen at home. We'll see how this week goes for them. And then Manistee, a 48-6 loss at East Jordan. East Jordan's a pretty tough team for D8, D7 French kind of level. No surprise there. Again, you're losing your quarterback, losing your receiver. You lost a pretty good senior class. No shame in the losses. No shame in any of these losses, honestly. It's week one. For those who are just absolutely, jumping ship on a program like this after week one, shame on you. There's no reason for that whatsoever. Again, like I said, there's 8 weeks to go. A lot of things could turn around really well. Like I mentioned too, I felt Marquette was going to be the best team in the UP. Week one, they showed me that. I felt Kingsford wasn't going to lose a step. I figured Escanaba was going to hang with them. I saw that. Yeah, that happened. Westwood surprised me. And good for the Patriots. Good for that school. That's awesome. And then East Jordan, Manistee, again, the matchup nothing's really surprising me. It's week one. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be ideal. It's not going to be what teams are going to see in week 9. It's a lot of learning, a lot of figuring out identities. So week 1, officially in the books. Now, what am I looking forward to for week 2? My 8-player game I'm looking forward to is North Central and St. Ignace. Both teams. St. Ignace is their second year at 8-man football. Really interesting to see what they got. And then North Central wound up losing to Pickford last week. Pickford held the ball for 36 minutes in a 48-minute game. So Pickford had the opportunity to just grind and wear down North Central. So North Central and St. Ignace, it's a matchup I'm really intrigued by. Be a great test to see where both programs are at. Really looking forward to it. And then my 11-man matchup of the week, it's Gladstone and Lagani. Whenever these two go at it, these two are going to be the living snot out of each other, as my old football coach, Hall of Famer Kevin Langs would say. Again, this is be a much better matchup for Gladstone, especially last week. I know nobody in the locker room's happy about what happened. Now they got a chance against Nagani, who found a way to reload. I thought with the graduation of Kyler Carr and some other players last year, I thought Nagani would be a little dip, but I watched them play against Kewanee, Wisconsin. I felt if Nagani was in mid-season form, they could have put a running clock on Kewanee. Kewanee didn't overly impress me. I know they got one kid who's had some visits to some Big Ten schools the days after that game against Nagani, but Nagani's still going to be good. Nagani's still going to be a problem in Division 6. But I'm curious to see where Gladstone matches up, because I mentioned how the game when I was talking about the previews and stuff. I want to see how these first 3 games are going to go for Gladstone against Marquette, Nagani, and with Kingsford. Nagani's the next one up. Whatever happened against Marquette happened in the past. Dead, bury it, so be it. I'm really excited to see what Gladstone does against Nagani because, again, it's a better matchup. It's more of a physical run-first style, which I think when you graduate as many skill players as you have like Gladstone did, it's going to be a better matchup because that game's going to be fought more in the trenches, which I think is more Gladstone style. So really intrigued to see where those two go. And, that's kind of our high school portion. Let's bring in old friend, shall we? Alright, so enough about me ranting about UP high school sports, even though I love it. Let's shift here now to more of the college and the pro scene, and joining us now, because I like having him around, he's actually a nice guy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome news reporter Noah Johnson. Noah, welcome back to the program. How are we doing today?
Hey, big dog. Thanks for having me back. It's always good to be here, talk some sports. You covered the high school, but let's dive into some college football, shall we?
Let's do it.
So first, let's just take a look at this past weekend. There's a few things to talk about. If you want to jump on Florida State, I'll let you go at it. But yeah, just what are your big takeaways from this past weekend?
Well, Miami runs the state of Florida, which is the first time we can say that since, you and I were in kindergarten, probably?
Yeah.
SMU was this big, but I had a hunch whoever got Cam Ward out of the portal was going to have a lot of success, and boy, was I right with that. Probably one of the coolest things I saw was the Miami players after the game telling the Florida commits watching in the front row, hey, come here, we run the state, not here in Gainesville, which I thought was just such a cool thing to do, personally. I loved that confidence. Another game that really surprised me, Notre Dame. I don't understand why A&M was number 20 out of the gate. First-year head coach, young quarterback. That defense, though, my goodness, if they can stay healthy, that's going to be a problem. But give credit to Marcus Freeman and staff. It didn't take a lot of offense, which I love games like that because it's such a chess match at that point. But give credit to Notre Dame. That's going to be a playoff team. They're going to be favored from here on out. That last game of the year against USC is going to be much must-watch TV. And then my third take, LSU. What the hell? I have wonderful 6-leg parlay going. I had all five legs knocked out, including Notre Dame money line on that. All I needed was LSU -4. And for the second year in a row, my 6-leg parlay to start the year hits. And I am still very much upset over that. Just the dumbest penalties you can think of. I'm going to give credit to USC. I didn't have a lot of expectations for them coming in. I'm still not quite 100% sold on USC yet. But LSU was definitely a disappointment to me this week.
And staying with the college football theme, let me just say personally, I was excited to see Florida State lose as bad as they did. Especially when you look at last year and they were wanting to be in that top 4. Quite a contrast to how we're now. But staying in that, let's talk about the college football playoffs and talk about kind of where each team stands. And Big Dog, I understand you've got kind of a list going there.
Yeah, so I'm going to make this a recurring thing, kind of how I think this is going to be looking here. Right now, after week 1, I know it's way too soon to make guesses and analysis on this. But I got to have fun somehow and entertain the people, right? Right, Noah?
That's right.
So after this week, I've got 9 teams right now that look like they're very much in. Alabama, to me, looks like they haven't really lost a step. They killed the board with Jalen Milroe, that combination we didn't see. Probably being as strong as it was. I mean, look what the board did with Michael Penix Jr. And Milroe's been a Heisman candidate probably last year, too, if he was a little more consistent. This year, 100%. Bama's still in. Ole Miss. Quit sleeping on Lane Kiffin's Rebels. This team is legit. All right, number 7. Good old Rocky Top. Tennessee slinging the ball around. Give credit to this current coaching staff. The gap between Phil Fulmer to now was such a rough stretch for Knoxville and the entire state of Tennessee. Man, this offense seems like it has its groove back when they had like some Josh Dobbs, Cedric Tillman, and Jalen Hyatt. It seems like the offense is backfiring again. Not to mention they got one of the best pass rushers in the nation. It's probably going to go number 1 overall. So Tennessee, to me, looks like it's going to be a team that's going to be flirting with the playoff spot. Number 6, no shocker here because I talked very highly about this team. We talked about the big down the gate. Penn State. Man, they walked into a really hostile environment and very insane weather scenario there in the second half. Holy smokes, that rain poured down in Morgantown. But Penn State still looks like to me like they're going to be a playoff team. We talked about their schedule a couple weeks ago, how it's kind of light compared to the rest of the Big Ten contenders. So Penn State's definitely for me. Number 5, Miami. Like I mentioned with Cam Ward. Without a doubt, Miami. Runs the state of Florida now. Is not close. Number 4, a matchup I like to see in the playoffs. Miami and Notre Dame. The old Catholics versus convicts matchup. Like I mentioned before, Marcus Freeman's got this team on all cylinders. Riley Leonard, say what you will about him, but having a quarterback that's cool, calm, and composed, even though it would be awesome if Notre Dame can have a freshman come all the way through for 3 to 4 years, but Notre Dame looks really good to me. Number 3, this may change next week. Texas. Quinn Ewers is still a problem at quarterback. Texas is still loaded despite losing a lot of NFL talent this past draft. The Longhorns, Michigan, noon, Fox. You better be watching it. It's going to be interesting as all get out. Number 2, no shocker, Ohio State. Number 1, Georgia. Need I explain those two more? I mean, Ohio State beat Akron, which also I explained to people in the office with Akron and the MAC. I'm going to use an old analogy by the late great Billy Bean here. You got your Power 5. You have your Group of 5. You have the Mid-American Conference. You have 50 feet of crap. You have a couple Flames. And then you have Akron. So I'm not going to buy a lot of stock into the win, but still, Ohio State knocks off Akron. Cool. Number 1, Georgia. Obviously, Clemson really disappointed me. Which, no shocker. Still not 100% sold on Carson Beck, but I want to see a little more against a better team. Teams are kind of on the fringe for me. LSU, for obvious reasons. Michigan, I think Joel Klatt put it best. It's just like 2015 Michigan all over again. Defense is going to be awesome. Offense has to find its identity, kind of like it did when they had the days of Jake Rudock and Wilton Spate. Michigan's going to need some time. I'm pumping the brakes hardcore in Oregon after that Idaho game. I get it, you have a new quarterback, but what in the HE double hockey sticks was that against Idaho on your home turf? I'm not panicking, but I'm kind of pumping the brakes, doing a double take, like, what's going on here? USC, like I mentioned, I'm still not sold on them, but they can keep finding ways to win games with the new quarterback, who, by the way, was slinging the ball like crazy on LSU. Did not see that coming whatsoever. Then you got your Big 12 teams, your Oklahoma States, Kansas State, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Whoever wins that conference is going to get that spot. Maybe you get a second team in there. I don't know. The committee hasn't always been the greatest of Big 12 teams, especially now. Wait, I said Oklahoma's a Big 12 team. My goodness. Where am I at? This whole real... Okay, I had a fever dream about 11 o'clock on Saturday night. Had played in NCAA on one TV, and having the Big Ten Network on another TV, and all of a sudden you see Washington taking the field. That's a fever dream. It doesn't feel right. It feels unnatural. And also, my Big Ten source isn't high on this team, but still look out for Iowa. I mean, if any other year, the past 10 years, they beat Illinois State like 16-2 or 16-3. The fact it was in the 40s in a shutout tells me Iowa is going to take some steps. Then my By Felicia category. Half the state of Florida. University of Florida, which is probably going to be hiring a head coach here in the next couple weeks. And then Florida State, just a sad, depressed tomahawk chop.
Bye.
Which is unfortunate because I like Mike Norvell, but that program hasn't been the same since Jordan Travis's gruesome leg injury, which is a really sad thought. Yeah, then also next weekend, if you're not watching Michigan and Texas, you better have a really good excuse, or you better have a TV issue.
And moving right along, takes us right into week 2, looking at some of these matchups we got going on. Big Dog mentioned Texas and Michigan. I'm certainly going to be watching that one. But let's go through the rest of week 2 matchups. Let's see what we got on the docket.
Yes, looking at week 2 here, you got the Dukes Mayo Classic, 7:30 on ABC, which, as someone like me who streams off DirecTV, needs to find a local establishment to watch that game. You know, little teardrops there. Other than that, not the craziest week, although Oregon and Boise State is going to get really interesting now with after how Oregon looked against Idaho. Illinois hosting Kansas, that can be really interesting, especially with Brett Bielema's history. They're going to play physical football. I love Lance Leipold, Kansas head coach. Did really well at Wisconsin Whitewater. Did really well at Buffalo. He's a class-act human being. Love what Kansas is going to be able to do, hopefully. Other than that, it's you got Iowa State. Be a fun little matchup. Notre Dame hosting Northern Illinois. Don't expect an upset there. And then Oklahoma State Arkansas is going to be a fun matchup. But other than that, I think week 2 is not going to be quite as entertaining as week 1. But watch me eat a crap load of crow next week.
Yeah, you just might, but I agree with you. I think probably the most interesting game has got to be Texas and Michigan. But switching gears here, we're going to move into the NFL because it's also opening weekend for the NFL.
Football!
But we're going to get into some of that this Friday. Obviously we got the opener in Brazil. But Big Dog, let's go ahead and I understand that you've got some bets going on for week 1, so let's hear them.
Alright, so this is a new segment of the show. It's Big Dog's Big 5 Bets. So it's very simple. There's 5 games looking at with spreads. I'm going to give you My takes. I did this 2 years ago with my newspaper, Manistee. I want to be like 55% against the spread and just over 60% money line. So I like to think I know what I'm talking about sometimes. The emphasis on the word sometimes, but let's get into it. All right, first one I got. Arizona Buffalo. I like the Cardinals +6 here.
Ooh.
There's a lot of questions for Buffalo on both sides of the ball. They lost a lot on defense. There's no established number one receiver. Buffalo wins, but it's going to be closer than 6. I think Arizona's going to be really scrappy. They're going to walk into Buffalo not intimidated. John Legannon's going to get the boys ready. Again, Buffalo wins, but Arizona covers. I don't like the number 6 that big this soon. Number 4. The New England Patriots are 6.5-point dogs. Yeah, I'll take that. Jamar Chase hasn't seen a snap yet. And I get it, New England's going to be a laughing stock of the league. They're going to be picking top 5 again. But 6.5 for the Gerard Mayo defense is kind of too big again week 1. New England covers. Cincinnati wins. I think Bengals win by 4. I think the Patriots find a way to backdoor cover. So I like the Patriots +6.5. Number 3. How in the world are the Giants 2-point underdogs at home against Sam Darnold? Explain that one to me, Noah.
I can't.
And when you look at both defenses, name you one elite ball player on the Vikings defense.
Pass.
That's what I thought. I get it's Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, but in this case, I like Daniel Jones better. It's hard to say it out loud, but I don't trust Minnesota's defense right now, especially a 2-point. Giants being a 2-point dog at home. I like the Giants to cover, and I like them outright to win it too. Number 2, there's so much hype around the Chicago Bears, right? Like Caleb Williams, this great receiving core they have. It is a great receiving core. They have Montez Sweat as legit pass rusher. They got pretty good linebackers with T.J. Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, and Jalen Johnson is number 1 corner. How he was omitted from the NFL 100 top player list is still beyond me. But this is going to be Caleb Williams' first start in the NFL against the actual NFL defense and the actual NFL environment. It's not just basic coverage. It's not basic cover 1, cover 2 like you see in the preseason. He's going to get thrown the kitchen sink at him. And he's talking about a secondary with L'Jarius Sneed, Jamal Adams, and Quandre Diggs. He talked about a Chicago offensive line that still has a lot of question marks to it trying to block Jeffrey Simmons. I don't like these odds here. I think Tennessee pulls the upset here in Chicago week 1. Titans cover and win outright.
And how about that receiving core of Tennessee? My goodness.
I like it better once DeAndre Hopkins gets healthy. Give him 3, 4, 5 weeks, and I think Will Levis. Look, he's got Brian Callahan now as a head coach, and he did some really good things in Cincinnati. I think this offense is going to pop up. I think Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears are a very underrated 1-2 punch at running back, and we're about to find out on Sunday. And my mortal lock for the week. Tell me a team that suffered a bigger hit to the roster than the Rams losing Aaron Donald to retirement.
I mean, when Aaron Rodgers went down last year.
I'm talking off-season, though.
Okay.
Off-season.
No, that's probably the biggest one.
I get people are really high on the Rams, and I think second half of the year they're going to explode. But you talk about asking rookies in Jared Verse and Brandon Fiske to walk into Ford Field against the best offensive line in the NFL with two returning 1,000-yard rushers. A really young defense. And Stafford's going to get booed beyond belief. Yeah, I like the Lions 3.5, and I'll take even more right now. I think Detroit's got the potential to absolutely beat the brakes off of LA week 1. Not just make it close, not make it entertaining. Beat the brakes off of the Rams week 1. Detroit covers, wins outright. At least the Rams are going to be a playoff team. They're going to be just fine. But week 1 with that young of a defense, because you've never been to Ford Field, have you?
I have not.
I went 2 years ago in Seattle, and it was a 48-45 game. That's when they still had T.J. Hawkinson, which tells you how much that roster's changed. That place gets so loud. And I was like 5th row from the top of the stadium. Like, people don't underestimate how loud Ford Field's going to be. My Warlock, Detroit, -3.5. Detroit's got the really good opportunity to make that a 14, 17, 21-point game.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of leaning. It looks like that's going to be not a blowout per se, but I think Detroit's going to win by double digits. in that one.
Yeah, people are really ignoring the fact that the Rams lost arguably the best pass rusher the NFL has seen since Reggie White. And people put him on the same pedestal as Reggie White. People don't realize how big of an impact that's going to be. And how much, who do the Lions have to double team now in that D-line?
Right. The image of Aaron Donald holding the 2 helmets at the practice game will forever be in my brain. What a great player. What a fiery player. But, Big Dog, you got any more bets? I think we got through them.
That's all 5 I've got. I try to stick at 5. I do a pool with my buddies, Trav and Ty. Do every game, every week. We've done it for like 34 years now. It's been a lot of fun. How I do last year? I plead the fifth on that one. I think I was a little bit below 50%, but that's including every game, including taking on responsibilities with this job too.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. And this is something, at least I haven't done this with you before. 3 random questions or thoughts. I like this idea.
All right. Stand up to bat.
All right.
Give me the pitch.
Okay. So first, we're gonna go NFL.
Mm-hmm.
How big of a factor is Brazil being the location for the Packers-Eagles game? And if it is, who does it benefit more?
I don't think it benefits anybody. It's just a true neutral site feel. It's a true neutral site. That's all it is. I think for that game, I think Philly has more proven talent, and I think it's further along than Green Bay. I think Philadelphia is going to win that game, personally. Although Green Bay is going to make it a fight. My issue with the Packers is, outside of Jair Alexander, who's your number 2 corner, getting Xavier McKinney free agency was awesome for your safeties, but you still don't have a number 2 corner, and you have to find a way to cover both A.J. Brown and the Slim Reaper Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. Along with dealing now with Saquon Barkley in the equation. Sure, the Eagles may have lost Jason Kelsey, but they still got 2 of the best tackles in the league in Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It is a neutral site, but I just wonder what the demographics what Brazilian fans are going to be. Just interesting thought. Moving on. You ready for pitch number 2?
All right.
All right. We're going to go to the MLB. All right. So of these 2 players, they are probably each going to win an MVP in their respective league. Mm-hmm. Which one has performed better for their team this year? Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees or Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Oh.
Keep in mind, Ohtani's going for 50-50. Judge looks like he can break his own home run record. Tough.
I would say Judge, just because. Okay, you take both these players off their rosters. Let's just say they go. Let's say for my dreams and sanity, they sign with the Tigers, and I'm all happy. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Which roster do you feel is better suited for the loss of the player? The Dodgers or the Yankees? And why are you saying the Dodgers?
Well, I am going to say the Dodgers.
Exactly.
They've just got a lot more depth.
Exactly. Ohtani's got 2 other MVP caliber players with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, and don't forget probably some players too. Sure, the Yankees have Juan Soto, who's also caught fire this year. He's been an awesome guy behind him, but outside of that...
Steinbrenner, you better sign him.
Yeah, it'll be all-out bidding war, man. It's going to be fun, but for me, the answer is Aaron Judge, and it's not even close. Sure, Ohtani's done some great things, and if his elbow ever heals up and he's pitching, awesome. But you take both players off their respective teams, and they sign with the Tigers. Yankees hurt worse than the Dodgers, so for me, Judge makes a bigger impact.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It would be really interesting to see that Dodgers rotation next year if he can come back.
Oh, that'd be so scary.
Oh, terrifying. All right, moving on to the final question. We're gonna hit back to the NFL again. What NFL head coach is on the hot seat this season?
Well, you got 2 big ones. You got Matt Eberflus, the Chicago Bears, and you have Robert Saleh of the New York Jets. I think Saleh's pretty self-explanatory. Saleh in the front office just thought that Zach Wilson's going to be the guy. And with Eberflus, it's you got all these. I'll give the Bears credit. They've brought in a lot of talent. They've done a really good job in bringing in really good players, especially on offense. Now it's just all got to come together. It's got to work. I think Eberflus is more of a defensive-minded, culture builder, leader of men kind of guy. So I don't know how exactly that's going to work with the rookie quarterback, because it seems to be the past decade, 15 years, rookie quarterbacks tend to do better with offensive coaches. Exhibit A, Patrick Mahomes. Do we really need an Exhibit B? That's what I thought. No, those two especially be interesting. Although, it would be kind of cool for the Lions that if, let's say, at the end of the year, Aaron Glenn gets a head coaching job elsewhere and Salah's a free agent, like Robert Saleh from the state of Michigan, D coordinator for the Lions, because we all know what he did with the 49ers and that talent. Man, that would be a lot of fun to watch.
I like it.
Yeah, well, this wraps up another episode, doesn't it?
Yeah, we made it, man. We made it. Thanks for having me back.
No problem. One question for you, though. I was looking at it right now, Braves and Mets are really battling it super tight for that last wildcard spot. How you feeling right here in early September? Are the Braves going to hold on?
You know, man, this has been an odd season because in one way it reminded me of 2021. We had Rosario at one point, got Soler. It was starting, and Adam Duvall. Looks like we had that whole outfield. Acuna went down. That happened in 2021. But then we just can't keep up with these injuries. Not having Acuna, not having Albies. We don't have Riley. I mean, half of our outfield and half of our infield is gone. Harris has been on the mend. He's been in and out. I mean, some guys like Gio Urshela, you know, he journeyman, and then you got Whit Merrifield. They filled in nicely, but I don't know if they're going to be able to hold off the Mets, who are a little bit healthier than the Braves right now. But, however, it's all about catching fire at the right time. So there's still a chance, but I think they make it in the playoffs. Now, do they go on a deep run? I don't think so. But it's been a roller coaster season. I'll say that.
Gotcha. Well, we've reached the end of the roller coaster here for this episode of Press Breakers. Thank you so much for joining. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share, email, social media, carry your pigeon, however you want to do it, giant griffin, I don't know, however you want to do it. Just spread the word, man. We're having some fun when we're doing this. But until we talk again, I'm your host, the Big Dog Mitch Vosburg. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, keep your stick in the ice.